I've been on a lookout for a great quality chair that also looks good for so many years at this point. In fact, last year when I've been to Japan, I've made a stop at one of Herman Miller's stores in Tokyo to actually try out their chairs. And after trying them out, I left the store a bit disappointed in the fact that, yes, some of the chairs I saw there were looking good. I knew they will last a long time. They were decently comfortable, but none of them seemed particularly amazing, especially considering their price point. I just did not feel like they were worth the amount of money that they're asking for them. And funny timing, when I came back home, I saw Fractal announcing a couple new products, with one of them being the refined chair. And I'm so glad that I waited, because this screamed to me clean, modern design, ergonomic, and good value. I've been using this chair for almost 7 months at this point, and look, if you want detailed tech specs or a scientist talking about optimal lumbar support angles, there are other reviews out there for that. What I'm giving you is a personal, honest, and straightforward review of what it's like to actually live with a refined chair over an extended period of time. The unboxing and assembly was pretty straightforward. Everything was neatly organized, and I didn't have any issues along the way. Once it was all put together, this thing looked clean. I went with the white mesh version, and it fits right into my setup at home. Honestly, it's nice to have a chair that doesn't dominate the room with its looks, but still has a premium minimalistic presence. And because you're watching this video, I assume that might be your take as well. I'm pretty impressed generally with the materials. Almost every part of it feels high quality when you touch it or use it, and the whole construction gives off this vibe that Fractal really put thought into the build quality, which, if you know their PC cases, kinda makes sense. The mesh backrest is supportive, yet it has a good amount of give. The frame and base feel solid. The 4D armrests, although a bit wobbly, have a great amount of adjustments. The hubless casters are genuinely cool. They roll smoothly when I want to move, and in fact, very quiet, I must say. But not so frilly that the chair slides away with the slightest push. And the height, depth, and tilt adjustments of the chair feels great to me. Although the actual levers to adjust those, not so much. I'll get into those a bit later though. The lumbar support is also pretty solid. It's got a built-in adjustable system, nothing super fancy like a dynamic mesh tension, but it gets the job done. I have it set to just a light amount of pressure, and it's been comfortable for long sessions. It also has some nice padding around it, which definitely feels nicer than other chairs where it's just plastic. As for the headrest, I was a little skeptical about it at first, since I don't really use headrests that much. But over time, I found myself leaning back more often, and it's actually really nice to have. Alright, confession time. I have a habit of sometimes sitting with my feet on the chair's legs. That was a great angle, I know. It's probably not an ergonomic way to sit, and I'm curious if there's anybody out there who also found this a comfortable sitting position. I was concerned that I'd stain or somehow scratch those pristine white legs pretty quickly, but after months of doing this, I'm just happy to report the durability of the finish is actually excellent. No ugly scuff marks, no discoloration. Honestly, they just straight up look brand new. To sum up the good stuff, it's a chair that I enjoy seeing in my room, and I enjoy sitting on it every day. But not everything has been great. I want to be upfront about one kind of a big issue that has happened to me after just 1 week of having the chair in. Even though, like I previously said, the construction of the chair feels solid and premium, I started to hear cracking and squeaking sounds coming from the backrest while I was just leaning back. I've looked it up online at the time, and it seemed to have been a common occurrence for the first batch that got sent to the public. In the beginning, it wasn't so bad, but a few weeks later, it started to settle at a pretty annoying level, and it kept being like that until I got a new replacement directly from Fractal. Their support has been honestly pretty great, but I had to wait 4 months to get a replacement. My best guess is it was something to do with the plastic in the lumbar support area. I don't know, potentially the plastic being too hollow. Anyways, from what I've looked it up online, this isn't an issue anymore. And Fractal have told me they've implemented a new QC on their end to avoid this issue in the future. My replacement doesn't make any weird sounds anymore. But if that changes in the future, I'll pin an update message in the comments. The rest of the stuff are honestly pretty much nitpicks on my end, but I might as well just go through them. Earlier, I've praised the fact that I can lock the recline at my perfect angle, and that's still true. I love that, but the process of locking and unlocking is where my gripe lies. The mechanism to actually do this just isn't the smoothest or most confidence-inspiring thing in the world. For one, its position under the seat is a bit awkward. I have to kind of reach down and fumble to actually switch it up. And when you do, the amount of pressure you have to add onto it to change its mechanism is just way too much. If you're like me and you tend to sit on one recline position and pretty much just stick with it, you won't have to mess with the lock often and it won't bother you much. The armrests. While I did mention the fact that they have a good amount of adjustments, I do think the top padding of the actual armrests could be softer. Don't get me wrong, the rubber has a decent firmness and it's probably intentional so that they last longer. Super squishy armrests, I know, degrade over time. But when I plop my elbows down, I can't help but wish there was just a bit more cushioning. Maybe I'm spoiled by some chairs that have memory foam armrests, or maybe I just have bony elbows. Either way, those armrests are what I'll call okay in the comfort department, and like I said before, they also feel a bit wobbly. The Refine also features a caster lock mechanism that's designed to prevent the chair from rolling. Engaging or disengaging the lock requires accessing a switch on each wheel, which means you have to do all of this. Not really convenient. In the end, the Fractal Design Refine has been a fantastic chair for me after I got my backrest replacement. It's still not a cheap chair by any means, we're still talking about a few $100s here. For what I paid, I feel like I got exactly what I was hoping for. A chair that looks awesome in my space, one that it's comfortable for long sessions, and it's also built well enough to last me years. Hopefully. Thanks for listening to my ramble about a chair. Who knew I could have so much to say about one? If you have any questions that I didn't cover, feel free to ask me in the comments below. And if you're on a quest for the perfect chair like I was, I wish you luck. For me, the journey ended pretty well with the Refine.